Let's take a look at Cristiano Ronaldo's big money move. Obviously, he's now moved to Saudi Arabia. Plenty of people weighing in with their opinions. We'd love to hear what you guys have got to say as well. So jump into the comments. Heath's obviously a bit worried about this about this chat getting heated. So it's all up to Nigel now. So Nigel, does CR7 deserve more respect than he's getting, or do you think he used up all his credit with all of the, the silly behavior in and around the World Cup and, the petulance that we've seen from him in the last few months at Manchester United before that ugly split?
I think Heath left us, JJ, first of all, because Ronaldo didn't go to the MLS and went over to Saudi Arabia. That might be an issue. But anyway, we'll let him. We'll let him defend. Oh, here he is.
Sorry, guys. I had to fix my Clint Dempsey sick T-shirt I got going on in the background right now. So it was leaning over. So I jumped off real quick, but I'm back. I have no idea what happened. Actually, everything just shut off.
We were debating whether you jumped off because you were sulking that Cristiano Ronaldo decided to go to Saudi Arabia instead of coming to MLS. What did you make of those Kansas City rumors?
I like the idea of it. I mean, if you remember 10 years ago or whatever, when Robert Pires was like, why would I go to a place like Philadelphia? It's like a little small town, and people had to remind him that it's like a 4 million person city, and it's actually a big city, and there's tons of things and plenty to do. But that was sort of the mentality. But when you think about Kansas City, I don't know how real that is. Honestly, I probably should have done more homework on how legitimate that was. I mean, I'm sure there was some legitimacy to conversations, but I can't see him sort of wandering down in the Midwest to grab some barbecue and play his local ball. There's no disrespect to Sporting KC, but it's I think there's a period in every career, and maybe Nigel's mentioned this, or maybe he feels differently, that you have the right to go and get what you feel that you deserve. I think I think that move to Manchester United and it not working out opened his eyes to the fact that he's past his best, and that for him to be his best, he still needs people around him to play around him, to play him into the best positions possible. And this will get him the bag, so to speak, for lack of a better term. It's not for the quality. It's not for anything other than the fact that Saudi Arabia is skyrocketing in terms of their plans as a country and what they're going for World Cups, in terms of what they want to do on the global stage, in terms of being a more progressive nation, different than they were even 5 years ago. I think that's all fits into their national plans. But for him personally, I mean, I go back to one quick thing, and I'll make this briefer than my monologue I'm doing now. But the Michael Bradley, who played for the U.S. men's national team, son of Bob Bradley, he was a player. He was my roommate for a long time. He was a player that I said, this guy cannot be bought. And I'd say, I can be bought. You can buy me. No matter what club I was at, you were going to be able to buy me. At a certain point, that money hits a certain level, and you go, that is life-changing, right? And Cristiano Ronaldo doesn't need life-changing money. But that's the idea of somebody saying a billionaire doesn't want to make another billion, right? Like there is just a constant chase of financial security, generational wealth, those types of things, that when an offer comes at that level, and I don't think MLS would have gone anywhere near what he's going to be getting there, you have to take it. Michael Bradley was one. I say that because he took that $50 million deal to go to Toronto FC after sort of coming off the bench at Roma. And you're like, wow, this was a massive leap from what he was making to this. And I don't think he was at the end of his career in terms of what he was chasing ambition wise, but the money came and he took it. And I believe that everybody has their price, is what I'm getting at. And that price was right for him. So I can't really knock him for that, though I would have loved to have seen him playing in Major League Soccer.
I think when you look at this, JJ and Heath, it's a situation where you've got to think about it hard, in the sense of, I think for me, when I look at Cristiano Ronaldo, we already know how competitive he is. He's an absolute competitive beast. And what he's achieved in football in his career, no one can say anything about it. 5-time Ballon d'Or winner, the leagues and the titles he's won, everything that he's done in the game, great. I think the difficult thing in this situation is recently what's happened, in the sense of the interview at Manchester United. That didn't go down too well. And obviously the situation, the reaction of the World Cup, that didn't go down too well. I think those two situations played the biggest part in why probably Cristiano ended up in Saudi Arabia. It's nothing new. We've seen top players who played at his level, where Cristiano is one of the greats of the game, top 1%, towards the end of their career, they get their big money move. And I want any player who's played the game at any professional level to tell me, with achieving everything that Cristiano Ronaldo has achieved already, the stage that he's at right now, would turn down that deal and that offer from Saudi Arabia. And I'll tell you a lie right in front of your face. Because any player that said they would turn that down is lying to your face. Because we've seen players go for way less in way worse places. And let's be real about it. It's about the money. This move for Cristiano Ronaldo is about the money. And I understand from Saudi Arabia's perspective, they're trying to build up the league and they're trying to do things differently and, trying to create an environment where they feel that they can grow football. But it's hard to speak negative about it because of the sense of what he's already achieved in his career. And going for this big money move is something we've seen other players do before. I just think that it's just a lot that we've seen recently with all the press, the interview at Manchester United, the shenanigans at the World Cup. That's what's made it difficult for him. I don't feel if any of those things came out, he probably would have had better options to go to Europe and to stay in Europe, to be as competitive as he still wants to be. But I feel that the press and the situation that happened at Manchester United played a big part in why this move materialized.
I also think that he had some lingering legal issues in the U.S. too that we know about, with a case that was closed and a case that reopened and things like that make life probably pretty difficult in the U.S. And the other thing that I would say is I've talked to a number of the quote unquote legends that have come to play in Major League Soccer, and most of them really struggle with the adaptation to being at the highest, most intense environment and coming to an environment where people think differently, the thought process is differently, the competitiveness is differently, and then having to live that constantly. Even Thierry Henry, who I've talked to a number of times about it, said even to his last day playing in Major League Soccer, he struggled with the mentality side of this is very different. This is not a bunch of people playing at the highest level, competing, giving everything they have. Some people are, but some aren't. And I think people really struggle with being able to leave that at the office and not allowing that to affect their quality of life.
What about the travel though as well?
Yeah.
Oh, let me add to that, Heath. I fully agree with you. You know what it's like when you're in a dressing room, you lose a game, and some of your teammates go, it's okay, we'll get it next week. And you lose a game, and it's okay, we'll get it next week. And you lose a game, and it's we'll get it next week. It's like, no, we won't get it next week. Like, you need to have that mentality now. And I've been in that type of dressing room to where I really wanted to fight a couple of my teammates. But it's like what Heath said. It's a different mentality. It's a different culture. There isn't no promotion and relegation. So some players get very comfortable. And some players, when you're training with them as your teammates, you really want to 2-foot them in training, put a rocket up their ass. Don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for that. Sorry, Des.
That's unlike you, Nigel, to have been in a dressing room somewhere in the world.
Yeah.